And we are off. All right, everybody. So you may have heard on some of my previous shows I talked about Caniac Sessions. These are their two hosts, Griff and AB, both really good friends of mine. So we're going to talk about the video that I made earlier today and a bunch of other little things. I've been on their show before. If you've never checked out Caniac Sessions, I will leave a link to it in the description. It's very good. I listen to it every time that they put it out because I have really long commutes and it makes them a whole lot easier. So you guys go ahead, introduce yourselves, talk about what you do a little bit as my dog tries to steal the show back there because he knows we're recording every time. He's like, oh, look, I'm the center of attention.
Yeah, Griff, you go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'm Griff. I'm one half of Caniac Sessions. As you said, we usually put out, well, probably about one session a week, sometimes more depending upon what's going on. But yeah, I'm Griff. I live down toward Wilmington. Been a Canes fan for quite some time now. And yeah, AB, let's hear from you.
So I stand 6 feet. No, I'm just kidding. Um, I've been watching hockey for probably about 10 or 11 years now. I had to go through some of the trials and tribulations for the Hurricanes, but like Griff said, we put out a episode or session every week, sometimes two sessions a week, just depending. I live in Raleigh, so I'm at the epicenter of Carolina. So, you know, I see everything. Advertisements are big here and they're big all over the state. But yeah, excited to be back on the session because I know the last time we recorded,
Yeah,
we had a
I
little
fucked that up. That was totally
yeah.
my fault. I can't blame anybody but me. It's like, because I'm sitting there and I'm getting ready to like edit out like, the little dead spots and everything when both of us were taking breaks or whatever. I'm like, what the hell can I hear? I'm like, oh, hell. My bad. But no, so in my last video, and I just want to see what you guys think on this because I really like your takes on a lot of things. Because when I started getting to the whole YouTubing podcasting thing, I found you and Sam Wallace and Sam Driscoll first,
Hmm.
and I still listen to all you guys all the time. Um, so the seven I put them in, and this isn't it, this is my order from least important to most important. I said acquiring a goal scorer for number
Okay.
seven. For number six, I said acquiring a goaltender. For number five, I said fixing the power play because we've never really relied on it a whole lot anyway. It was kind of like it was dessert. Everything else was dinner when it come to Carolina's success. I thought. Then beyond that, I thought that the next thing they needed to fix was the. I want to say for number four, I had the penalty kill. I want to say that was number four, and then for number three, I think I had the 200-foot 5-on-5 stuff. For number two, I had the system I think needs some tweaking because I feel like teams have figured it out because it's simple and it's effective, but they know the Hurricanes are probably going to dump the puck in more than any other team. So they know if we have good defensive zone retrieval and good outlet passes and good zone exits, Carolina's not going to be able to establish that dominant presence. And usually when that doesn't happen, they're more likely to lose because they lose some games even when they do establish that offensive zone presence. And then the number one thing, clean up the locker room issue no matter how you got to do it. If you got to trade somebody, waive somebody, call somebody up, scratch somebody, let people know nobody is safe. You're going to get a ticket out of town and you're going to go to somewhere cold that's not a cup contender if you don't start flying right. So that's the way I did them. So whichever one of you guys want to go first, tell me what order you would put those things in and talk about any of them individually as you see fit.
Griff, shoot.
Well, I mean, I don't disagree with your order
Mm-hmm.
or the contents of the order. I think um I'm and I think though I would move a goaltender up to number one, and here's why. I don't think that the goaltending issue is maybe the biggest issue in the team right now. Like I don't believe it to be that way. I think the two that we have on the roster are capable, and they have
Mm-hmm.
shown that different points in their time with the team that they are capable, right? And either one of them could get on a run and carry the team. And I don't think that that's outside of the realm of possibilities. But I just think that they haven't shown us to this point this year. I think both of these guys have zero confidence. The team has zero confidence. The team is so afraid of making mistakes because those mistakes this season have ended up in the back of the net every single time, I feel like. And I think if you can go get a fresh face, somebody that needs to kind of find themselves again, and I don't mean find themselves like play better, just in a better situation that they're in, i.e., John Gibson.
John Gibson would be my number
Or
one choice if we could get him.
Yep.
yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. Or somebody that's, maybe on a team that is not quite a contender, but they're kind of carrying that team along right now. I don't know, whoever that is. But here's my thing. If we can find somebody like that, bring them in, I think that you can allow the team to work through these other issues, improve the power play. If you get a goaltender that's, above average, that's going to help your power play, right? I'm sorry, not power play, penalty kill.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to help your penalty kill right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then while this team is, if they've got to tweak the system a little bit, if they've got to, adjust their defensive schemes or whatever a little bit, or whatever it is, you allow the team to go through those and work on those issues. But while they're doing so, everything's not going in the back of your net.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously some may, I get that. You're never going to be perfect, but I think that if Ronta and Kochetkov to this point would stop leaking so many bad goals, and I'm not saying that every goal they allow is bad, but I feel like there's some that if we could have just gotten a save, like I look back at the Islanders game that we lost in overtime. If I believe it was Kochetkov played that game. No, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Was it Ronta?
I think it was Ronta.
That was Ronta.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think.
If he could have just saved 2 of those, they weren't like crazy high danger. I mean, they were good shots, don't get me wrong, but if he could have just saved 2 of those, that's the difference. Or if he could have just saved 1 of those, that's the difference. That's 2 more points. That's the difference right now in the division between 2nd and 6th.
Yeah.
And I just think that there's been several instances where if you could just have a timely save when they're letting it squeak in between their arm, or, not cinching down and letting it slide underneath the 5-hole or whatever it is. I just think if you could have gotten a couple of those back, we'd be in a lot better situation, and we wouldn't be sitting here questioning the season like we are now. Because if you take 3 of those losses and put it in the win column, we're having an entirely different discussion, in my opinion. Yes, there's issues with the team, but they're not issues where they're going to set you back or ruin the season. They're issues that could be the difference between, home ice in the playoffs or, wild card, right? I don't know, but that's just my take. I just think the goaltender category is one, just because that could minimize the negative effects while you're working through the rest. That's just my opinion.
So one thing before Alan jumps in, you actually made me think about something real quick when you accidentally said power play instead of penalty kill with the goaltending. What goal you have actually does factor a little bit on the power play as well, because one, it's a high risk, high reward situation, and 2, Carolina needs one that plays the puck. That was the thing that made the difference between Peter Mrazek and Scott Darling more than anything. Mrazek would come out and play the puck when Carolina was denying entry, and he got it back up ice really quick. You need that on the power play out of the goalie too, because you might be able to catch the penalty killers on the other team in a line change and generate more high danger chances that way. And we all know Carolina is not exactly known for clean entries on the power play. It's not exactly their staple. Anything you can do to make that better, up to and including all the way back to the blue paint, do it. So and then the 3 things I cited in regards to a goaltender was I said they need to be able to, like you're saying, make a timely save. Part of that is because you might go 7-8 minutes without seeing any rubber when Carolina's playing correctly. So they need to be someone who can sit there and be like, okay, I know I'm not going to see a shot for 7 minutes, but when I do, I'm going to stop it. 2, they need to be able to be durable and consistent, so those times when Carolina is off their game, they can steal a game for us. And then I thought the next priority after that was what I just mentioned. be willing to come out and play the puck and do it effectively. So, because Carolina's all about keeping everything at the other end of the ice as much as possible, the goalie needs to buy into that too, whoever it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, our podcast isn't family friendly, so I kind of get to have a little bit of wiggle room.
You go
This
right
team
ahead.
is fucking lost. I mean, this team is like a chicken running around with its head cut off. We are lost 5-on-5, power play, penalty kill. But like Griff said, the goaltending has become a really big issue. We signed Kochetkov to that big, not big contract, but a lengthy contract
It was
because
a
he's
bridge
gonna
deal to prove, like, hey, are you it?
Yeah. So, and ever since in my opinion, ever since Freddie Anderson went down with that injury, this team did a total 180.
Mm-hmm.
And Ronta's he's a great goaltender and Kochetkov's a great goaltender, but they just don't make key saves when we need them the most. Right. And it's happened for so many games. I look at the game last night when I was watching last night. I turned it off after it went to 2-0. And I was about to turn it back on when we tied it. And then Pedersen scored right when I went upstairs. So I was like, yeah, I'm done.
That one was totally on Aho.
But we can't make timely saves. And with Thatcher Demko, when I watched him, he was everywhere. He was positioned right. He was square to the puck. He was making great saves. Wasn't letting, squeakers by compared to Ranta and Kochetkov the past couple of games. So if I want to go out and get a goaltender, if I'm Don Waddell, I'm looking at John Gibson. The Anaheim Ducks haven't made the playoffs since 2018. So it's been a little while, and John Gibson has come out and said multiple times that he's not happy in the past couple of years with where Anaheim is going, because obviously they're rebuilding and they're trying to get back on track, and they're having a pretty good year so far. But why not come to Carolina and have a chance to compete if this team can turn around? Because the goaltending situation is just it frustrates me so much, because with Rod's system, I always look at teams that ride their starters for 3 straight games or 4 straight games. With Rod, it's just a rotation. And I don't understand that. I think if you have a starter and you're paying money for that starting goaltender, you need to start him multiple games. Not do the whole, okay, it's your turn. Now it's your turn. It's your turn. Now it's your turn. Like, it just doesn't work. I mean, you look at the New York Rangers when Lundqvist and Shesterkin was coming up. Lundqvist was still the starter. And then Shesterkin slowly started to get into that role, and now he's starting 3 games in a row. And you look at Sorokin, you look at Ottinger, you look at Georgiev, you look at guys like that, and you're like, why can't Carolina, do that? So I don't know if it's for Rod keeping the locker room happy, because clearly they are not happy.
No.
And something needs to change. And, goaltending, I talked to Griff about this afternoon, that I want to go out and get John Gibson, but worst case scenario, when Spencer Knight starts to come back a little bit, maybe go out and grab him.
Yeah,
but we need to change the scenery for a goaltender, because it's clearly not working.
Yeah.
So do you agree that it should be? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, just one note on John Gibson real quick. He has let me take this ad off. I went and looked him up on Cap Friendly just to confirm what I thought. So he has a $6.4 million cap hit. He is signed through 26-27. And he has a 10-team no-trade clause. So whether Carolina's one of those 21 teams he'd be willing to go to, that's the one thing we'd have to figure out. But if he really wants to go to a contender, he can be a large part of turning this team around if we did go get him.
Yeah.
So, go ahead with what you were going to say.
I was just going to ask AB if that was him kind of saying that he thought the goaltending situation would be number 1 on his list, or if he was just kind of branching off of what we were talking about.
I think I think honestly it's top 3, but I think there's one thing that we're probably going to get into that's going to be number 1 on my list. So I'd say I'd rank goaltending at 2.
What would you
I
rank
rank
at 1?
goaltending at 2.
Let me just make a point real quick
Okay.
about
Okay,
something.
make a point.
Not anything refuting you or anything you said. My example kind of that paints the picture of kind of the rant that I went on just a minute ago. If you look at the Boston Bruins this year, right? There's no way you look at a sheet of paper and think, wow, this is one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference.
No.
I mean, not at all, right? But here they are. You know, they don't lose very often. And why is that? Because they are backstopped by 2 goalies who are great.
Mm-hmm.
Swayman and Allmark are both. Swayman and Allmark are both playing well, especially Swayman.
Mm-hmm.
I wish we could get
100%.
him. I wish we could get that guy.
Yeah, but I mean that goaltending tandem is like a majority of their success. They're not going to give it up. It's just
he'll be an RFA this year, and they'll ask for like 3 first-round picks or something like that.
No,
I'm
not
don't
saying
re-sign him.
I was going to say, like our last offer sheet was successful. I mean, if we really want to start thinking about that, because the prospect pool is pretty loaded, and we don't trade things away, so it's like part of the reason we ended up with Nikishin was we were reloading from the cake, or we'd already got Nikishin, and then we were able to reload our prospects by trading down after we got KK with the offer sheet. So it's like, you know, there's an option there too. But like, you know, I'm starting to think maybe I should have ranked the goaltending up higher, but I just felt like it's like that requires a transaction. That's going to require us to spend assets. Whereas, you know, whatever
I'm okay with that.
Whatever was said in the closed door meeting, like, hey, motherfucker, get your shit together, boys. Like, what the hell are y'all doing? You can fix that if it works, seemingly now. Now, one of the things that I was talking about with the system itself, I think that they need to start approaching it differently in regards to the top 6, because they can barely complete a clean entry 5-on-5, and that's affecting the power play.
Dump and chase.
We know that it works a lot of the time, but teams that are good at puck retrieval and zone exits and stuff like that, they know we're going to dump it in. The forwards just cheat, and they get ready to catch an outlet pass and go. Mm-hmm. So that just kind of messes up everything for Carolina when with how good their transition game normally is. It's been very off this season like everything else. But, you know, it's kind of time to be like, okay, what adjustments do we need to make so that guys like Aho, Svechnikov, Teravainen, Kotkaniemi, etc., Bunting, who I think needs to start seeing more minutes in the top 6, because he's one of the few guys on this team right now that I think is not problematic in terms of effort or in terms of where his head is at. Make some adjustments so that they can make clean entries, because other teams are going to go, holy fuck, Carolina's making clean entries. What do we do now? So it says we're running out of time. Hell.
I don't even know what it is, but before we'll probably have to make a new meeting. But
yeah, it
you
says
know,
9:50, so we got 9 minutes and 50 seconds.
You know, as a floorball goalie, which is, you know, totally different. It's a huge sport in Europe, and I've been fortunate enough to play in the U.S. Nationals, and you know, have a goaltender's perspective, and I see the difference between a taller goalie and a shorter goalie, and especially with Ranta and Kochetkov, the difference in positioning is so clear, because Ranta last year, he stayed back in his crease. And usually when you're a goaltender, you want to come out and you want to challenge. And Ronta's doing a little bit of a better job this year, but, you know, he's not used to it. And I feel like with bigger goalies, you know, they have more flexibility and they're able to make quicker adjustments. So I think we need to get a goaltender that's a little bit taller than Ranta. And what's Kochetkov? Kochetkov's a pretty big goalie. He's probably like 6'2". Yeah, 6'2", 6'3".
I think he's like 6'5", isn't he?
Yeah, no,
I'm 6'4". I'm 6'4". So, you know, it's a lot easier for goalies that are a lot bigger, because you look at goalies that are bigger. You look at Vasilevsky. You look
6'3".
You look at
You look at Ben Bishop, you look at Andre Vasilevsky. A lot of those guys are so good because they're flexible, they're taller, they're not a short goaltender, because I've seen reports from scouts and heard conversations. They're not looking at a short goaltender. They want a bigger goaltender, and the reason being is because of flexibility and frame.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you can go get a goalie that's has a bigger frame and is a lot more flexible than Ranta or Kochetkov,
Hmm.
that can really make a difference with some of these high danger chances from the opposing team.
Yeah, and with goalies now, it's like Saros is the outlier. You're not going to see many more goalies
Yeah.
like him, if any at all. But he's a freak of nature as it is. UC Saros is like
Yeah.
playing goalie the way he does with his size. It's pretty insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, John Gibson would be my first choice. I would, if we couldn't get him, I think Mackenzie Blackwood might be a good target. I'd rather have John Gibson. I'll make that abundantly clear now.
Yeah,
But we got to
100%.
do something.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be. Can y'all think of? Because I remember you guys talking goalies on session 19 or whatever.
19.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
last one. And I was like, okay, all these are good. And I remember one of y'all mentioned Peter Mrazek.
Yeah.
Yeah, Griff
That was
did.
Yeah,
I shot that down.
there's one upside of if you go get Mrazek. Mrazek already knows the system.
Right.
Yeah.
That would be the one upside of it. Because like I said, the thing that separated him from Scott Darling, other than the fact that Scott Darling just didn't take care of himself, was that Mrazek would play the puck.
Yeah.
So there's that. I can't think of who else would be available. Trading for goalies,
Jake
especially
Allen. Jake Allen,
that-
I've heard.
that's not a bad idea.
I've heard Jake Allen.
That's not a bad idea at all.
And he's a great goaltender, but
Mhm.
he plays for the Montreal Canadiens. So
That's going to be hard to deal with.
yeah.
And they just signed
I thought-
Montembeau. So
Yeah. I thought some names I was thinking would, and I don't know, again, I don't know if there's any way we could get some of these or not, but and I don't know if Arizona's selling anymore. Arizona's pushing right now. So, but man, Connor Ingram would be, I mean, he's having a heck of a year.
Mm-hmm.
Or even his backup, who is it? Vimelka, is that right?
Kirill Vejmelka
Yeah,
was someone I
Vejmelka.
was wanting the Hurricanes to maybe consider getting.
Yeah. Let's see, who else was I thinking? I know Markstrom just went on IR,
Mhm.
and he's kind of pricey, but if Calgary decides to, if Calgary decides to start dumping players and and to just commit to a rebuild, I mean, there's talk of Lindholm and Hannafin, and I don't know if there's anybody safe on that roster, to be honest.
Lindholm was
but-
someone I was hoping maybe the Hurricanes would consider
Yeah.
trying to get back.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about if the Jack Drury experiment is not over yet because he's improved over the last few games. But
Right.
we're in we're not in cup or bust territory, but we're definitely in hey, the window is slowly starting to close.
Mhm.
And we wouldn't have to go into a full-on rebuild, but we're going to have to take a couple of years to, retool the bottom six and add depth pieces and, rebuild our defense and everything like that. Lindholm was someone I was thinking, what if you go get him and with the way that he plays, put him with Bunting and Nason, and then you basically have a top nine and
Yeah.
Marcus
That'd be crazy.
Stolovost.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree with that.
yeah, because that,
Here's
and-
a
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
gonna say-
Another goaltender that's been on the trade list is Capo Kakkonen.
From San Jose.
I'd have to do some research on him. Because,
Yeah, he
I know
played
him,
for
but-
Chicago last year, and
Mhm.
he's not a bad goaltender.
Mhm.
It's just the past two teams he's played for, Chicago and San Jose,
Bad.
but he's
Yeah.
a great goaltender. I've watched him a lot. I love watching, goaltenders and how they play.
He's had some practice, that's for sure.
Yeah.
100%, probably like 40 shots on net or something like that. But I've seen Peter Mrazek and then Connor Hellebuck. I believe he got an extension,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Connor
if
Hellberg.
I'm
Yeah,
not
he's not-
mistaken.
Him and Shifley got
What-
it extended on the same day.
Winnipeg.
So
Winnipeg
you
can make a run
have
this year,
UC
so
Saros,
maybe
who's been talked about, Carter Hart, but they're not going anywhere.
Mm-mm.
So, I mean, I look at John Gibson, Capo Kakkonen, Jake Allen, maybe Connor Ingram, maybe Alex Lyon, Spencer
Yeah.
Knight, if he,
Alex Lyon is familiar with the organization too.
yeah, and he
Mhm.
played well when he played with us
Mhm.
on the main roster.
Mhm.
So, but, I'd rather have, like we all agree, John Gibson and,
Mhm.
like Griff said, Connor Ingram would be a great addition. It's just, I want somebody that's not going to be a one and done. I want
Mhm.
somebody who's going to help Kochetkov out because
What if you could
Kochetkov's going to be pushed to
Mhm.
the moon.
Right.
what if you could get Markstrom and Lindholm in a package for Natchez,
Pesci in a first. That's the new meme now.
Pesci and
I do it.
Yeah.
I do it in a
Yeah,
heartbeat.
I would.
I do
It's
it
just,
in a heartbeat.
It would
that-
just depend
is that
on
really
if
a meme?
Pesci would waive his no trade clause. That's the only problem. I don't know if that's one of the teams that he has on the no trade list because he's
Yeah.
got
Well,
a 15
Calgary's
list.
been doing a lot better. Calgary's been doing a lot better the past couple of games
Mhm.
because I think
Yeah,
when
but-
we covered it in our session, Griff, I think they went 4-1.
Yeah, but if they get rid of Markstrom and Lindholm, they're not going to be. That's,
No.
they
Well,
won't be
I
the
don't
same
even
team.
think they're ready to compete for a Stanley Cup. So
But I'm just saying, but if it was Pesci Natchez in a first for Lindholm and Markstrom, I think you make that trade.
I would.
I'm gonna see. So Markstrom's cap hit, he's probably around 7.
I think he's 6. I think it's 6. I was looking at this the other day.
Elias Lindholm in
4
2018.
points.
So he's 4.8 million.
That would be pretty easy for Carolina to do, actually, to get Lindholm.
And the
Could be
cap's
a-
going up at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was just an idea. But
Yeah, because like it's like, and I talked about this before. It was like I feel bad about Pesci because he wanted to stay and a deal didn't get done, and it's all but inevitable that he's going to be gone. Whether that's at the end of the season or he gets moved at the deadline or sooner is what's yet to be seen. I think that's part of what's affecting his game because he is not himself, like at
Yeah.
all. Natchez, I think we need to trade him somewhere where he has a chance to go back. If we're going to trade him, we need to trade him somewhere where he has a chance to go back to his natural position and play center because he's not happy being a winger. I know that's part of his problem. Like
100%.
because I know what it's like. I played wing and I played defense. I'm sorry, I played center and I played defense. I hate playing wing. I feel trapped when I play wing. I feel like I just can't do anything. So it's just not my thing. I just don't care for it. Plus, I don't score a whole lot. No way. But that's just me. But I would.
I think with Marty Natchez is that he has always been vocal about wanting to play center. And I think what we've been missing is a right-handed center for so long.
He wins
And
faceoffs a
I
lot,
talked
too.
about that when we first started doing the podcast, Griff.
Mhm.
I wanted, Elias Lindholm or a right-handed center because when we had Trocheck, it's kind of hard on some faceoffs when you're in the left dot to have a left-handed center come in. And Jordan Stahl obviously is phenomenal on faceoffs, but if I'm a general manager, I want to have a left-handed center, right-handed, left-handed, right-handed. I want to have a balance so I can send somebody out there to have a little bit of an advantage. It's just Natchez. He makes so many costly turnovers, and if he was a center, I feel like those turnovers would increase. So I think that if you move on from Natchez, that's fine. I want to win now. Every Hurricanes fan wants to win now.
Mhm.
And we have the depth. We don't have to worry about that. Natchez is going to be a great player. Don't get me wrong. He's going to be a phenomenal player. He was a great player last year, but, it's just I want to win now, people, to take faceoffs. And you've seen Jarvis do that this year. That's why I'm kind of confused as to why Natchez isn't doing it. And Natchez is a great player, but, this is a win now mentality. Players are getting older. Brent Burns has taken a step back. And it pains me to say that because I love Brent Burns.
Yeah, but it was
Now,
noticeable,
it's a male of
like,
our species, but
I disagree. Sorry, I'm gonna. I do.
you don't think
well,
he's
he's
lost a
alpha
step?
male of our species. But
I don't think he's lost a step.
All right.
I mean, okay, look,
Yeah.
compared to last year, I don't think he's lost a step.
That's
compared to his Norris days. Then yeah, but compared to last year, I don't really look. He still leads the defense in goals.
Mhm.
He's still very serviceable. He's got the current Iron Man streak. I mean, I think some of his mistakes this year are just because it's just part of the whole thing that the team's going through.
Right.
I don't want to, that's just my opinion.
I'm comparing it to last year, so that's why. It's just win, and every Canes fan is like that. But yeah, he's still contributing. I mean, his plus minus, according to the NHL app, is at 8. 27 games, 5
But he
goals,
plays
8
with slings.
assists, 13 points. So
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, he's still doing his thing. I love Brent Burns, but
Mhm.
yeah, it's definitely not the start that everybody predicted that he would do.
I'm not ready to write him off yet. I think
No,
he's still,
I mean, but every Hurricanes fan is win, 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 win.
Yeah.
well, I mean, I get that.
Yeah, the thing that scares me about the territory we're getting in is like we're getting back into scapegoat territory like we used to do back in the day where everything was Eric Stahl and Cam Ward's fault. That's what I'm worried about right now. And then it's like, and now Tony D'Angelo, who hadn't played since November the 18th, people are still blaming him. Yes, I'm talking about you, Sarah Sivian. Like, bro, I woke up and I saw that. I'm like, oh, you done fucked up. I haven't had an energy drink. I haven't had breakfast. I'm already in a bad mood. It's fucking on. And that's why I made that tweet. I don't like her as it is. But when she said that, I'm like, bro, D'Angelo's been in the press box for 3 weeks now, almost. Brendan Lemieux has played 10 out of 25 games. How can you blame them? Like, that makes zero sense. And at least
then she realized she was wrong, and then she tried to like play it off in her comments. Did you see that?
She does that. She did that all the time. Like when there was a reason she didn't stay the beat reporter of the team. Like, no one liked her. And then the other stuff that she used to do where she would like write these really stupid, vague tweets and nobody would know what she was talking about or what it was remotely in reference to. So, but yeah, she was like, oh, well, I didn't mean to do that. It was a joke. No, it wasn't. We know you hate Tony D'Angelo. The first interview that you did with him, do you remember the questions you asked him? You were trying to bait him into something from the moment you talked to him.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I just to go back to the list, yeah, I agree with your list. I do. I think those 7 things are really, in whatever order who you put them in or whoever. I think that's the 7 key, items that the team needs to deal with. And so, you can plug and play with whatever order, but I totally agree.
But yeah, it's like even whichever order you solve them in, and that sucks because last year we had 2 problems? We couldn't score 5-on-5 and we couldn't score on the power play. That was literally the only 2 issues we had. That was it. And by extension, you had other little things like you couldn't do clean entries. Okay, cool. But, for the most part, everything was working and now it's not. And it's like, I get to thinking about this really arduous system these guys are playing in with Brindamore and everything like that. It's got to be starting to wear some guys out. Natchez, I think, being one of them because he's so used to being able to create time and space and walking in. I mean, granted, he's a European player. A lot of them do that. But, some stuff's got to change, and those were just the 7 things that I've cited over the course of the season. But I appreciate y'all, coming on the show and reviewing the list and everything like that. So, but goaltending, yeah, we definitely need to do something there. I think Lindholm would be an excellent trade target, like if we could get a package deal and get him. But, Pesci, I don't think he's going to stay anyway. Natchez, I could see him either holding out on signing if we did keep him or getting offer sheeted. We might as well move him now if we're going to do it while we have control over that particular aspect of it. Him being an RFA will be attractive to a lot of teams because they'll have some control over his future. So, and one thing I wish I had on me, I compiled some stats to differentiate Orlov's career on the power play versus D'Angelo's just out of curiosity. I made it up. Or not made it up, but I compiled that information and put it together and everything like that. Why would I read something like that? Why would I purposely read something I know is not going to be good? Maybe I need to start going on their website and like roasting every single article because like
what do we think of that X or tweet, whatever?
Yeah, that was hilarious. Oh, well, and what was funny though, it's like after all of us roasted the McDavid article that old boy wrote, he took it down.
Did they really?
They took it down. It's gone. That's why I took screenshots of it. I knew they would because he got on him, you got on him, then I made the video about it, and I was like, oh, I already know that this is not going to stay up between that and all the people in the replies going, bro, this is bad. And the funny thing is, the dude who wrote that, there was all these grammatical mistakes, and he's a librarian.
Is he really?
Yes, dead serious. He's a librarian.
He clearly needs to go back to school.
Yeah.
Oh, the guy that wrote that article, yeah.
Yeah, he's a librarian, and he made that many mistakes in like the grammar and everything like that. I was like, bro.
Griff, I just saw your reply on one of the Caniac.
Yeah, they've got me blocked. They didn't waste any time with that. Apparently, they caught some heat because of the video that I made about it.
Either of you read the article and it shows it's okay. You weren't the only
Which one are
though.
you? Which one did I put on that you saw?
It was you tried to call out those of us that have called for goaltending change. I responded with facts because you're wrong. What does that have to do with my hobbies? You literally post bullshit all the time. You should be the new hobby seeker. You felt attacked. That's on you. You think you're the
That's not. Wait,
arbiter.
hold on. Wait, make sure you preface who wrote this one. I didn't say anybody felt attacked. That was Cardiac Kane's reply was. Go ahead.
It said, buddy, have you ever thought that maybe you need a new hobby instead of constantly responding to Twitter comments? I'd give you my Netflix password if you'd stop taking this seriously. I sent them a tweet that said, like, here's something that'll help you out.
How
I
to write an
posted, like,
article.
a little YouTube link that said, like, how to write an article.
Yeah.
I didn't. They tried to say I felt attacked. I didn't feel attacked about what just because I.
Yeah, I don't
posted,
think they know who they're fucking with.
No.
I replied with Jay Fresh's goals saved above expected.
Where we're dead last.
Yeah, that's what I replied with because they're like, oh, everybody's calling out goaltending. Yeah, well, look at the numbers, dude.
The
Here,
goaltending is an issue.
Let me read this real quick. I'm just going to show you how shit our goaltending is right now. Let me pull this up. So Freddie Anderson obviously is not playing. Pyotr Kochetkov, 4 wins, 6 losses, 1 overtime loss, 3.12 save, 3.12 goals against average, save percentage 0.873.
That's not good.
Ronta, 6.5 goals against average, 3.40 save percentage 0.860.
So since Freddie's been out of the lineup, we're only 1 game over 500 between those two goalies.
Well, Freddie was 4-1 and 2.87 goals against, and
that hurts.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no,
That's
the
what my whole
goaltending is a
argument
big
is.
factor.
I'm not saying that they're both trash. Like just go back to my argument. I'm not saying they're both trash. I'm just saying that we just need some timely saves. And if we had those, because Freddie was giving us that. Freddie wasn't perfect either.
No.
But he was giving us timely saves when we needed them, and that was able to be the difference in the game. And we still
100%.
had the same issues then that we have now. That's all I'm saying.
Well, you're absolutely right about it.
I love Kochetkov. I love Ronta. I've enjoyed watching him here.
100%.
You know, I want Kochetkov to be the future. All of that. But if we don't do something, the season is going. We might as well just.
We're not even going to make the playoffs if we don't address the issues in net. Like
nobody's ever heard of Cardiac Kane except for Hurricanes fans, and the only reason they've heard of it is because of their shit takes.
Yeah,
I mean that's just a fact.
It's totally
if you work
true.
For Cardiac Kane, there's one guy that follows.
Wait, they get
us.
paid for that shit?
Yeah.
What the?
There's one guy that contributes to our posts and is a really good, I guess, friend of ours. He's very positive. He works for Cardiac Kane, but
well, I don't even know if he does anymore. I haven't seen him post anything. I haven't seen him post anything for a while.
Yeah, he got out of the cult.
Okay, I'm glad.
But the rest of those people there are fucking idiots.
Yeah, no, that Chris Baker guy in general. So like, I made some sarcastic post about something one day, and he said something to me about it, and I said, "Oh, buddy, it's just an inside joke. Like I wasn't trying to be a dick at all." And he's like, well, since you wanted to so rudely respond, I think I'll go get external Canes content elsewhere. And then he blocked me. And then when I made the video, making fun of that responding to that article, I didn't mean to make fun of it. It's just, it was easy to do the way that it was written.
Hurt to a T.
He responded, he got on a burner account and he said, I think the word you're looking for is hypocrisy or something like that, because he said something about, he's like, it's okay for you to make bad content, but it's not okay for me to make bad content. I'm like, bro, I don't say things like Andrei Svechnikov is a UFA at the end of this season. I've made some mistakes with some of my stuff. I accidentally called Billy Kovanen a defenseman one time, and he's a forward. I fuck up here and there, but I don't do nothing that goddamn bad, I would hope. If I did, I want you guys to immediately, get up here and backhand the shit out of me. I deserve it, and I'll be like, oh, damn, I was wrong, and that'll be the end of it. I'll learn my lesson. The best way to teach me is through violence. So, just so you guys know in the future. I mean,
so
Griff, you and I were both in the military, so we know how it works.
Yeah,
so this guy is a contributor for Cardiac Kane, but he reposts the hell out of our stuff, and the person listening to this, you know who you are. Thank you continuously for all the support. But the rest of those people there are idiots. And I remember there was a girl who posted something on Cardiac Cane, some article,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody would just criticize her because it was an awful article.
Mm-hmm.
And she tried to play the victim card, which is
Yeah.
like, just because I'm a woman, da 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 da. And I was like, it is not that whatsoever.
It's just
You made
your
a
article was
bad take. Your article was bad.
Mm-hmm.
If you have an article or you put a post out there, there's a reply button on Twitter, X, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you can give your take.
Yeah.
I mean, in this country, it's also a freedom of speech thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, don't get all butthurt or try to play the victim when you spent hours on this article knowing in the back of your head that you're going to get retaliation.
Oh, yeah. I caught all kinds of shit the other night for saying that we should put D'Angelo back in the lineup over Pesci right now. People were like, oh, let's make the defense worse. I'm like, bro, there's a million things that Tony D'Angelo does that Brett Pesci is not doing anything he normally does right now. And I'm waiting on somebody to tell me, oh, you just hate Brett Pesci. I'm like, Brett Pesci is one of my favorite players of all time. I hate seeing this happen to him. I really do.
Yeah.
And when I look at Brett
100%.
Pesci, this is going to sound stupid. It's like, when I see Brett Pesci, I'm like, if I'd been good enough to play hockey, that's what I wanted to have been, like a shutdown right-handed defenseman. That's one of the reasons I like him so much. But then it's like, we can't deny the fact he's not doing what he once did. He's not denying zone entries. He's not angling people off in the corners in the defensive zone like he once did. He's not shutting down transition. That quick lateral edge work that he used to have, it's not there at the moment. Now, I don't know if he's got some sort of lingering injury that's causing that, because after he had that surgery, he came back and he was good for a few games. I don't know if something with that has come back and it's affecting him again, but there's an external factor with him. He's not himself.
If Brett Pesci played the way he did last year, I would definitely have bigger contract negotiations.
Mm-hmm.
But, that injury, it really hurts a player's confidence.
Yeah.
And, you see a lot of teams, go into the fact of confidence is a huge thing. You looked at Martin Necas. He was going to be a star, but the first couple of years he was flat.
Yeah.
And, he saw a sports psychologist, and the same with Elias Pettersson. And Pettersson's having a career year.
Yeah.
Necas had a career year last year. Brett Pesci's just not himself. And I don't know if the injury had a part to play to it. It most likely did. But, it's just, Pesci's not worth what he's asking for.
No, I wouldn't give
If
Brett
I
Pesci
were
$8
a
million,
GM, the number that I'd throw at him probably was the max 5.
Yeah. See, during the offseason, when Damon Severson caused all this stuff to get messed up because he set the market for defensemen with his contract, I was thinking 6x6 was about right for Pesci during the offseason. That's what I thought. Because then it's like, you'll still get him while he's still good, and even when he gets a little bit older and loses a step, that contract will age pretty well because the cap will go up. Yeah. I wouldn't give, like you're saying, I wouldn't give him more than 5, and I would reduce the term now, too. I wouldn't do more than 4 or 5 years right now.
Oh, 100%. I'd give him 3 or 2 at the max.
Then not to mention...
Like D'Angelo's contract.
Yeah. We have to consider also Slavin's coming up, and Slavin's going to get at least 8. Like,
I'd say
we're
9.
not letting him go.
I say 9.
Yeah. At a minimum, he will get 8.
Short of 10. He's going to get lower than Aho, but he's going to get like 9.5.
Yeah. He will get at a minimum 8 if they say, Jacob, will you please take a team-friendly deal so we can not add a sniper or a goaltender next season. Or so we can add a sniper or a goaltender next season. He might do that. But an absolute minimum, he's going to get 8. Minimum.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that would be like he'd have to have like the rest of his season would have to go poorly if he was going to end up with anything lower than 8, and I don't see that happening. Like, out of all the problems on this team, I don't think he's one of them. Is he himself right now? No, but nobody is. So, but yeah, I like all the ideas in regards to fixing the goaltending and everything like that. What do you guys think about like the system and everything? Do you think it should be adjusted for like have the bottom 6 and the top 6 play it differently? Should we change up the defensive pairs?
I don't know. I don't know if you. The only reason I hesitate to say yes is because at this point, if you make a change and it just doesn't work, I mean, you could get worse.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, I don't think you change the set. I think you keep rolling with what you have and just hope that, or do what you can to kind of change the course you know, of the team a little bit. You know, just shore up some areas like the goaltending. If you can get a right-handed center on the trade market somewhere, do it. Or even if you happen to find somebody in free agency that could come in and help, then maybe you do that. But I think at this point they need to, because my opinion is if they make a change to the system, then they have basically tapped out and said, we can't fix this. We can't do this, whatever. They're totally just basically, in my book, giving up. So I think a system change makes more sense in the off season. Do I think that they need to come back next year rolling the same system? Maybe not. But I think that that's an off season adjustment with a retool, I guess. But right now, I think you got to double down on your current system, and you need to make it work. And you need to do everything in your power to make it work. And everybody needs to buy in. The coaches need to double down on it and, show the team that they believe. Right. That's just my opinion. I think that, you can make little tweaks here and there, but I don't think you just totally dump the system. And we've seen the team succeed in this system. The players that are on the roster, that's why I'm so dumbfounded. It's because the same team, except for, a couple guys. I mean, it's just how
I think the forwards are pretty much completely the same, aren't they? I'm trying to think of
other than Bunting.
It's Bunting, Aho Jarvis, Svechnikov.
Did we add
any Teravainen?
So everyone was here last year except Bunting.
Playing on the fourth. Everybody was here for a little bit.
Yeah,
everybody was here except for Bunting and
Orlov on the defense.
And D'Angelo, but he's not playing anymore. So.
Yeah,
we're just talking about the forwards. Yeah, everybody was, because you had Stasny and Stepan, but Stepan last year was scratched quite often, and then him and Stasny would kind of rotate.
Yeah, and
I really liked Paul Stasny.
I did too.
Yeah, I did too.
Between him and Brent Burns, you have a full set of teeth. My dad came up with that. I just died laughing when he said it. He just came up with it out of nowhere. We were just riding around in the truck going to Bojangles, and he just randomly says that because we're talking about hockey-related stuff, and I about died laughing. But, yeah, I'm trying to think of, just what else that, they could potentially do. But, nobody's feeling more pressure right now than Rod because he wants to win just as bad as anybody, and he knows that it's all stuff that he's thinking about. He's like, hey, how am I going to fix this? And, he doesn't want to have a bad rapport with the players anyway. Excuse me, 1 second, gentlemen.
Yeah, 1 second.
I'll piggyback off. I got lasagna waiting on me. Oh.
We can wrap this up.
I was going to say, we will definitely do this again, though, because it's been refreshing just to kind of be able to let loose and let off some steam about everything that's going on. So, but yeah, I'll tell you what, in the future, if you guys have any topics you want to discuss on my show, feel free, bring them in and everything like that if you come up with anything, and we'll just do that anytime that you guys want to do that and everything, and that we're all available. So, because I know we've been wanting to do this for a while since the last time we recorded together, so this has been very fun, and I love having you guys on. I definitely want to do it again sometime in the near future. I'm going to try and get down there for another game soon. I'm waiting on I can't board him right now because he doesn't have his Bordetella shot, but he's getting it in 2 weeks. So,
well, let me know. I go solo quite often if I'm
so do I.
Yeah, if I'm working up in Raleigh or something. So just let me know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should do this like a weekly basis, Griff.
If
honestly,
we can, yeah.
This right here?
That would be fine, yeah. And I talked to the Caniac report.
We'll pull them in too, yeah.
Yeah, about doing something as well. And I think maybe a live watch party.
So
cool.
what I was
not even if we're recording or anything like that.
So I was going to talk to you guys about that. One thing I was thinking we could do. This is going to be the last time they have a centralized draft. So, they're decentralizing the drafts, which I'm not happy about. I understand they're doing it for logistical and monetary purposes, but that was one of the things that was different about hockey compared to other sports. So I was thinking, we'll get together on draft day if we can get all of us together, and that would be a good time to do a live thing because I should be settled into my new home by then.
100%.
So we'll be able to do something like that, and maybe we could do something for free agency. And, the playoffs, if we're lucky enough to make them, I'll see how settled in I am then. But right now, the playoffs are kind of they need to go back into one game at a time mentality. I know what part of their problem is. They want the playoffs to start tomorrow, but you have to be in the playoffs for that to happen because I'd be pissed if I was them about losing to a inferior team with good goaltending. But that's not a new story with the Hurricanes. It's
100%.
not.
No, I'd say I'd say if we could, we could do something like this, and we'll talk about it if you got to go, Brandon. But
yeah, dude, I love lasagna more than Garfield, so. But
See
no,
ya.
I got a minute yet. Yeah, we can close
Yeah,
it
we'll
out,
end the recording. We'll end the recording real quick, and then you see
I was
the
just gonna say.
download button.
Yeah,
right
I
there?
still
Yeah,
recorded it
just
with
hit that.
OBS. I've got it either way.
All right,
Yeah,
perfect.
but I'll download.
I was
it
just
too,
saying
in
maybe
case.
not a weekly thing to
Mhm.
do this, but we could do like
Once
we
a
could
month.
just
Every other
grab.
week.
Yeah, that works too.
I was gonna say once a month, or like just around big, like I don't know, like you said, the playoffs or whatever.
Mhm.
We could do it like once a month and have like a non-game night, like Friday night or Saturday night or something when everybody's free.
Yeah,
And just we could do like a live stream, invite everybody from our respective shows,
Mhm.
and then just do like a panel discussion. We can take viewer questions and just all kind of shoot the shit.
Yeah.
And
I'm good with that.
talk hockey. I think that would be awesome.
No, this has been fun, man.